I was drawn to that particular shrine of that particular Kobela by the Iskupu because she obtained it as a what you call it, as a magic sort of thing to draw customers
Gogo,
and
no,
patients
man. Gogo,
and initiates. And not only was it fake, it solicited energies from the cemeteries, energies from mortuaries, souls from dark, dark places, entities, elemental spirits.
Thokozani, I am Paul Wabadimu, the advocate of Idlozi, and I welcome you once again to Thokoza Gogo podcast. This is episode 4, and we are about to climb the ladder. If you still haven't subscribed to the channel, I suggest you do so by clicking on the subscription button and head on down to the notification button so that you are notified every time there is new content on the channel. Like this video and leave your comments down below. Most of all, please watch the ads. Without wasting further of your time, we have a very phenomenal guest today. Today. We are surrounded by greatness, and what a perfect time, or what a time to be alive. I'm excited and I hope you are. So if I were you, I wouldn't move a muscle. Thokoza Gogo.
Thokoza makhosi.
Ninjani?
Siyaphila.
Oh ma, awusemuhle.
Ngiyabonga.
Social media doesn't do you justice. But what an honor. Thank you for honoring the invite. And this is humbling for me. It's one of those episodes that are going to be, I look at and I'm like, ma, 27 years.
27, yeah. Whew. If you're not counting, since birth.
Ooh.
But 27 since
Ma, you
since
started practicing, I was 4 years old. You've been at it. How has the face or the transition of ubungoma evolved throughout the different years, the decades? What has changed? Are you more warmer to what is happening now, or you wish things just stayed how they were?
Oh, I feel good that things are where they are now. I was so ignorant of the whole tradition and even the calling itself at the time that I went through the journey. And so I was limited to a very narrow window, which was very heavily traditional. And I was living outside the country in a place that didn't have sangomas or even spiritual healers per se. The whole thing of spiritual healing was still seen very much as sort of hocus pocus.
Whoa.
Even in Canada where I lived at the time.
Whoa.
So when I went through my journey, which was heavily African tradition, I went back to Canada where Africans were still kind of in the 90s.
Yeah.
Everything that was African seemed to require more scrutiny than, things that were Western or things that were North American. So being a deeply rooted, traditional, spiritual healer in a country like that means that you're sort of breaking all kinds of myths, and you are also walking against stereotypes about what you are, what you do. But fortunately, I was able to create an atmosphere of more awareness of African tradition or spirituality, and it fit me to be in that role, if you will. I was the first sangoma ever in North America.
I mean,
in 1998. And so, I quickly became the spokesperson for the tradition.
Wow.
Whilst I was still navigating this new path that I had just, gotten. So as far as, the whether the change is a good thing or not, I think the change is a good thing because abantu abadala will awake anyway, regardless
Thokozani.
of whether you're in a township or you are in a city or you have a PhD or you are a Sayoni or you are a Christian or it's a heritage, it's an ancestral, it's a bloodline thing. It wakes within you. But I just think that there's probably not enough of a system of guidance or a system of regulation to ensure that with the changes that are happening, that the patient does not end up being abused or being mistreated or misguided, misdiagnosed, and so on. Because when there's not that traditional foundation and people, it seems, are making things up as they go along and incorporating certain things into the tradition that are not based, I mean, it's okay to incorporate things if you already have the foundation of what the actual traditional practice is.
But what is the foundation of the actual practice if we put it in a more broader aspect? Ubungoma, when somebody is looking at a distance and we want to establish the foundation, what is ubungoma?
I'll say Sangoma is an indigenous psychologist. And in that, Sangoma is a very specific individual. In that the vessel itself of a Sangoma is very unique and different to any other human being. The facility that you must have in order to be fully in the work and to be fully in the level of work means that you have to have a very good alignment with the spirit world. You have to have a good alignment with the unseen world and immaterial things. That's a facility that I'm seeing now that is not as well trained in people as it should be. We're very different from Nyangas. Nyangas are physicians. Nyangas you come to and you tell what is wrong with me. And Nyanga puts together natural, whatever they use, materials to cure whatever problem you have. Nyangas don't have to twasa. They don't have to become an initiate. Nyangas will dream of a remedy at night, or they will dream an ancestor showing them how to put together medicine, say, to cure cancer. They'll wake up and go to the bush and pick up those things and blend that medicine, and they'll give it to you when you say, I have cancer. Whereas a Sangoma has to look into your ancestral and spiritual world and gather information from, people call them the Akashic records, where information is stored out there in the universe.
Is that why we ask for your name, surname?
Yes, partly because we need to draw on your own lineage, on your mother line, your own lineage, on your father line. They will tell the stories. And so if a Sangoma is not able to hear telepathically, if a Sangoma is not able to vision and see remotely things that are hidden, probably centuries old, then a Sangoma is not fully trained to do the work that they're supposed to do.
Mama, you just dropped a bomb. Can I get a bomb?
Yeah.
Mama, you just dropped a bomb. You went back and spoke about Akashic record and all these things. So, abantu bayathwasa ma every day. And there's a lot of tossing, but there's minimal healing. Where is everything not going okay? What is happening in that gap? Why are we seeing so many people? You saw them yesterday, and 2 days later, she's a sangoma, and you ask yourself, and then umuntu okhona masethwasile athi mina izidlo zami lithi lingasebenzi, but you went through such a gruesome process, a challenging process. Kwenzakalani? What's the break there, ma?
The break is that the very thing that we started with, which is that tradition has been thrown out the window because tradition is seen as a slowing down of the process.
Yeah.
And tradition kind of, it sort of has rules and regulations that a lot of people don't want to endure. They don't want to go through their own shadow work. They want, people will ask you as you're diagnosing that they have a gift and they have a calling. They will ask you, how long will it take? Will I be, perfect when I get out of there? They primarily just want to be done with whatever it is. It's almost like as a sangoma who is a kobela or an initiate, you have to have a magic pill because no one wants to go through the enduring process of shadow work, of going through your ancestral lineage and correcting things that went wrong in your ancestry, going through the womb term and looking at what was happening when you were in the womb and cleansing, doing every single part. That's the initiation. That's essentially ukphehla in Zulu is to whip something. So ukphehla is the shadow work part of it. And asapehli, we just, people just take whatever my gobela previously did. Those are the steps
and
I'm going to put you through. On. But the thing is, those steps are not right for my people. Ooh. My ancestor may have been an ancestor from Egypt, Tibet, maybe an ancestor from the Ngunis, the Khoi, the whole genetic possibilities within ourselves are not looked at right from the beginning. Most people, they'll just see something that says that you are a sangoma, but they won't seek to know what the roots of that sangoma are. Like, what is their lineage? There's not enough looking at diagnosing the specific calling. Who's calling the person? Some people are called to the sangoma tradition. Some people are called with isitunywa. Some people are called with a medicine bag. Oftentimes it will be the three combined. So if the gobela is really just rushing to get paid, which is what happens now, the gobela doesn't purify or regulate ancestry at all. Like someone who's born out of wedlock and the ancestry is at odds, there's a tug of war between the ancestries. If they do not take care of whether the ancestry is unified or not, they can't, whatever they give you, they're giving it to separated lineages, lineages that are at odds with each other, lineages that are not even there, some of them, because sometimes you are born, but there's been segregation in your ancestry. Families moved or ancestors, can't catch up with. There's a lot of things. And the whole thing of getting the lineage to be in one and to eat at the same table so that by the time you eat the first medicines of the first initiation, it's a united ancestry that's sitting at that table. Abazodla lowo muthi loyo, and awukwazi ukudla lowo muthi loyo when your parents died, you never cleansed, you've had miscarriages, you never cleansed, all of that. You have all of this shadow that is sitting like a density of negativity, and you're eating what we see as holy food, which are the bark and the trees and the mbande, that is put together for you to activate the energy, to activate the energy in balance with the bodily, the bloodlines, the ancestry. So if the shadow work is not done, it's like you sitting in the toilet, literally, and eating. Because and there's nowhere that you are going to to when you come out of that process, everything is going to be muddy and everything is going to
make sense.
You are going to be in a psychosis for life because you are going to be experiencing the same thing you experienced that led you to go to maybe initiation, which is an awakening. If the awakening is waking, but there's all of this mud on it, it's just gonna goopa in the mud goopa in the mud.
Some people end up bathwasa kuphinda phindene uze umuntu athi ayi ngiyaguqula impande ugobela loya ungirobhile, or this is
Yes.
is it a matter of them kungasetshenzwanga kahle uhlele toilet
futhi nje ke yabona, I'm not just saying this because I trained the old-fashioned way, the traditional way. Even in my own twasa process in 1998, abanga. At that time, I was deep in the rural areas where my family is and where they lived at the time. But still, ngathwaliswa ngesithwalo without knowing, and it only got resolved 22 years later. The person, I was.
You 1998 uyahamba uyothwasa. Ugobela loyo, were you shown them? Were you led to them?
Ugobela, I was told. Well, firstly, I had gone through 3 years of transformation on my own, of course, living overseas and not knowing anything about anything. So a lot of these things were happening on my own, but I was visited by the ancestors in my home.
Okay.
And they spoke, but I didn't know. I spoke to my mother, who was here, and said, "This is what I've had a visit from the ancestors, and this is what's happened." And unfortunately, my mother was a Wesindisiwa at that time, very recently, and she just said to me, you might just want to find your own spirituality. Maybe we are Gwashembe and find God and so on and so forth. But anyway, I came back home, and just by chance, a cousin of mine whom I was staying with said to me, "Yazbongi, ziningi izinto ozenzayo, shisa impepho wenza zonke lezi zinto, ngathi ungahamba uyobona uMamthembu." That was my Kobela. So synchronicities happened, and I ended up there. And when I came there, she told me of this lion and this tiger. And these two animals had been just harassing me, haranguing me for years. Ooh. I was having nightmares being chased by them for years. And I'd been doing about 3 years on a yoga program for 3 years every day. And the tiger actually came through one day when I was doing yoga on my own. So when I sat there and she did the first reading, she said, "Dupodlingwe." And I thought, I think I might be with a person that might tell me what the hell is wrong with me, because for 3 years I changed diet. The Kundalini was rising. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know who to talk to. These animals were forever in my nightmares and so on. So after that initial consultation is when she agreed, or she said that I need to basically deal with the path and to go through the calling and so on. So, it was, and this I think is quite common even now, and it was then, and it shouldn't have been then. I think now that people should have been more innocent those days, but I was wrong. Yeah. I was wrong because when we began I had 16 sangomas that would come and be part of my each stage of each gobongo or each mbande or whatever. And there was this consistent sangoma guest always in my functions. And wai isangoma but nyanga from Mozambique. Okay. And babe close. Yes, they were very close. Nokobela. And I would hear them, how when after umcimbi, you've had ugliwe and so on. Now it's just you, sekungaksasa or whatever. They're talking, and I hear them having the conversation about isgupu is yesthwalo, ne? And Ugobela is discussing with him like someone discusses, like your trusted drug dealer kind of. It was that kind of conversation.
I have something you might need.
Yeah, it was that kind of conversation where, he's saying, no, they were asking each, but again, I can't oliga exactly the conversation because I had no prior understanding of I just knew isgupu was some kind of magic something or other, just from hearing of it. And the first day of my coming to stay at Indumbaye, I brought all my personal things, and it was the first night, and I dreamt of Umkovu, right? Umkovu was smiling at my face like this. And I knew, and it was so close, like it was real. And Umkovu is like a child's face. It's an entity that has like a baby face, and it was smiling at me. So when I woke up every day at night, Masgita will do the dance. Then her and I, my Gobela and I, would sit down and would go through everything that I was going through. So her husband was there, and I told them about the dreaming of Umkovu. And my Gobela looks at her husband like this, and they smile at each other, right? And then looks back at me and says, oh, just like, when somebody says, oh, Umkovu is not really a bad thing.
Oh. So when ubona lezinto zabo lapha.
Yes. And imagine, do I know that I was seeing izinto zabo? Because I didn't. And it took me years to see what. So in the very first place, I was dragged into, or I was drawn to that particular shrine of that particular Gobela by the Iskupu.
Ooh, wait.
Because she obtained it as a what you call it, as a magic sort of thing to draw customers and patients and initiates and.
So what happens? Like, I'm trying to understand something, la, because now it sort of contradicts the whole, structure of ukuba nengulo being called, when now ubizwa yizinto ezingahlanzekile futhi uye esigodlweni somuntu uyothwasa noma uyoconsulta lapho. Like, no man. Gogo, liphi idlozi?
Ukuhlupheka lokhuyana ngiyakutshela.
Do you think abantu bathatha lezi zinto lezi mhlambe akuna dlozi vele kubo noma then they just want to get something that can eat donsa? Because once we move from the point of idlozi liletha abantu, idlozi lizoletha amathatha, sengibeka iphondo manje elitontayo, sengibeka igubhu ezichichimayo, idlozi lami liphi lapho, where essentially.
Well, I mean, the thing that one discovers much after I completed all my processes, as hard as it was, I went through, I think, 7 years for me to go through all the required stages, and at some point I had to. And it was an intervention of a beautiful, beautiful old man, Ucele, who intervened. And I was able to do all of my processes and upgrade to Uluandle and all of that, and change Gobelas, because ancestors brought me this human being who was such a gentle, beautiful, gifted man. He was a bishop, a Sione bishop, right? Who said to me that you have to get out of this.
So many
and
years.
He described what he was seeing, and that there'd been deaths, and there'd been, dead spirits of dead people that had been used, and that in order for me to move to the next step, I've got to leave and change. So then I was able to meet Umamnyandu, who was my second Gobela, but my actual real first Gobela. And then you discover that the first Gobela in the first place, in her telling her story, when she sort of shares the story later, it becomes clear that she herself could not be initiated because ancestors took her somewhere to someone who did not have the capacity because she didn't have the mbande and the what was necessary, right? So in many situations like that, spirit takes you out of, finds a way to rescue you out of it, or finds a way to tell you that you're in the wrong place and to tell you that you need to move, here or there.
This is painful. It hurts me a lot because I'm one of those people that had a first petlo, a second petlo, and now what you're saying to me, it hits home because it made me realize that siyathalisa without consent. And langang khona initially, there were things we would do. In the M's, you'd walk in and see things moving, and it's said that we leave home because we are sick and end up in these situations. But how many of us or end up in this, Gogo, and are not aware?
It's a lot. Trust me, if it happened to me,
it can happen to anybody.
It's happening to many, many people. And in my practice over the 20-something years, that is more and more, becoming more and more commonly, those patients who would have a calling and would have gone to maybe initiation for a few months or whatever, and it goes wrong. When they come into my practice and I don't know that, and I read them, I will see that they've had this happen to them. And it is the worst news that you can give to someone, where you say, yes,
painful.
You went through that process, but it was all fake. And not only was it fake, it solicited energies from the cemeteries, energies from mortuaries, souls from dark, dark places, entities, elemental spirits that are mixed into other nafu medicines, and you are being crowned with that, which is such a suppressing of your innate, true, authentic ancestors. So your ancestors, you can imagine, they're trying to get rid of this thing. They're trying to talk to you, but it's these intercepting energies that were put on you are the ones that are running around creating havoc for the most part. And people who have them will go through dark night of the soul every single month.
Is that why you think izangoma are in, I can't say bazinikela kakhulu in alcohol and mental health issues?
Not only that, there's suicides, there's alcoholism, there's oversexed pornography, and because some of these ghosts or souls of dead people that they harvest from the cemeteries to create this yesthwalo like this, they are meant to namatela to you. You are literally, they make you possessed by a ghost of someone dead. So, if you're a male, it would be a female ghost that is assigned. They're sleeping with you all the time. Men who are twasad with this yesthwalo thing, they become so oversexed. They come to me complaining or asking for help for just too much masturbation, too much watching porn. It's like these entities or these souls they create addictions, they create accidents and calamities, because it's a lot of the time when you have yesthwalo on you, you're supposed to send money home, right? So they created you so that they put this yesthwalo on you, because these entities are supposed to, when you are working, whatever you are earning is supposed to go back to the main shrine where yesthwalo was, where you twasad or whatever. So you are going to lose jobs, or you're going to earn money, but you're not going to see where the money is going. You're going to make money, but then there's breakdowns of cars and gates and other things will just break down randomly all the time. Why? Because kufuneka kuxhaphazeke imali. Isipogo lesi sisebenza ukuxhaphazisa imali so that imali ivuzele emuva. So this is why these initiates lamathwasa lawa aphuma engazi manje ukuthi azowenzani. Uze umuntu ethi yangithwasile impela kodwa angifuni angizukusebenza. Yini na ku-block bona laba when you are just going to go and find a job somewhere ozoyenza ukuthi wenze imali ngoba kufuneka wenze imali ezobuyela ekhaya ezobuyela kuleya ndumba leya.
But then idlozi okay kuwo konke lokho.
Idlozi lakho lisala lapha.
But likuselani lapho?
And ukubuyazi ukuthi those dark nights of the soul are all about that. Ukuthi ngempela abantu abadala ningangisa kanjani kumuntu onjeya kuleli yakhaya. And then usubona ukuthi what exactly happens to you as a practitioner manje osusebenza abantu ngeyithwalo ngesithwalo wena usithwele. You become a crazy person. You become a totally Nazi person. So ke uzothi manje mawusubheka laba abantu who were victims manje of your twassering them or your doctoring them in some way or another. The things that you were saying or doing that were driven by the entities. Mina, when I discovered what exactly happened, I literally had to go to every single twassa of mine in Canada and do what you call it, a removal of these things. Because you pass it on. It's not just that mina ngange nakuleyo nto. In fact, it was one of my twassas about 15 years after I'd come out of the Thokozani who had dreams and where there was a clay pot and she saw that the two ancestors were guiding her to use a white cleansing over and when I looked at that, I thought, she just finished working with me. Why is she having to now cleanse some entity? Where is that coming from? And that's when I started the investigation, going backwards to that initial umkovu that I dreamt at her shrine. And of course, Yana refused totally, my Gobela, to cleanse her shrine. Mangimtshela ukuthi this is what's going on. Which means I had to take the responsibility of cleansing every single person that had come into my shrine as an initiate, because every single person would carry forward this entity which was in my own shrine.
As a Gogo, you're speaking such something that is so much important. And I think, I'm also learning a lot about myself. And I'm also grateful to my Gobela, my second Gobela, because it was only after the first ipehlo, and then Gaba Konmutongenela Babungwenya, who also assisted in that healing process. I did not understand, because literally when I left that first place, I was not behaving like myself, and I was not me. I did not understand why. And it makes sense why emapehlweni it's become these horror houses. Yalalwana, people are being trafficked. It's alcohol, substance abuse. It's because we are serving a shrine, yomuntu. And yingago uthola umuntu uzokutholela amathwasa ayi-30, ayi-50. And you ask yourself, what are they doing with so many initiates? Is it safe to say that ubugobela, it's not for everybody?
It can be for everybody, but it's just that if you don't have it, don't seek to have like a special imitation of apprenticeship or uktwasa. Don't use false energies to do that. Everybody who is authentic and genuine and honest and is a genuine healer learns how to become a Gobela, learns how to do it, and is if you are a Sangoma, you will be a Gobela, because that's how the tradition works. It works by mentorship. It works by me passing on what I have learned, which is why when you go through the initiation, you not only heal certain aspects of yourself and your ancestors, you start whilst you are in initiation to see patience under the guidance of the person So the Gobela aspect is there. It's just that there'll always be charlatans. There'll always be people who don't go through the authentic process, and they look for magic potions to make money quickly. And bazocabanga ngeyibhokwe, bazocabanga izinto ezingasile, bazofuya izinto ezingasile, and zidonse nombani. Ingakho ngingawatolika amaphupho ngoba I don't believe that you necessarily are to be drawn to your teacher because of dreaming, because these gupus,
they make you
dream. They draw you, they interfere and intervene in your dreaming process, and you ubona uzibone yena loyo muntu umbone epusheni loyo muntu ongazuthi ugobela wakho. So that whole thing was spread in the last 5, 10, 15 years ukuthi kufanele umphupho ugobela or what. It's a myth. It doesn't happen the same way for everyone.
It doesn't.
Some people you will dream them, and other times you'll be dreaming of someone who's already got something brewing in their shrine to draw people.
But this is it means, you know what, now we have just opened another layer within a layer. It raises a question. There's a thin line between uktwasa and abuse. And from Umama, you've been in the game for ages. And healers are broken from where I've, what I've experienced. Most healers have got traumatic experiences. Does that connect you to anything? Because I believe initiation is supposed to heal you. Usugugula. Ma uyophola ufuna impilo ngithi. But now uphuma laphana usugula more because kuthiwa ungakhuluma into eyenzakala ekuthwaseni or all the kanti you were raped. You did all of these things uphila kabi, and because of the fear of speaking up, abuser ma ukuhlukunyezwa ekuthaseni, does it have anything to do with enlightening you or awakening your gift or enhance? I don't know. Does it do something to you?
Abuse is not a part of this at all. I mean, although people think that even in traditional setting, like even 27 years ago when I was in it, I remember we had to go from the homestead of my Gobela, and we had to walk maybe 3 kilometers to where the ceremony was happening. And there was just one woman among the crowd of people. We're walking and we're carrying all those gupus and all of this. And I'm wearing sandals. And this one woman who is invited by my Gobela to be part of this, we're walking all together, is on my case because is on Gobela's case because she says, why is Gobela allowing me to wear sandals? Okay. I should be walking barefoot all the way to wherever it is we're going. And my Gobela just said, are the sandals initiating her, or is it the earth below her that's initiating it? How is this wearing of the sandals or not wearing of the sandals relevant? But all of us have gone through this process and we've all just never worn, and what kind of a twasa, is, and so on. So there is this expectation that there has to be some kind of duress in order for you to be whittled into this thing. Yeah. And my twasas have, well, I couldn't even dream or think of abusing my twasas because it was in North America. You get sued tomorrow. Oof. I mean, everything is scrutinized to a T when it comes to how you treat people, regardless of whether you say this is how we do it traditionally or whatever it is, there's no excuse. They can sue you for having a stomachache after, drinking your medicines or whatever it is, which is why I kept away most of the time from the medicine part. So I think what we're talking about now is just the security blanket that the government should be providing this whole profession through the Traditional Healers Bill, which was passed, but they have not followed through in creating the council. And that council is the regulating body that should be regulating how you become qualified. It should be regulating what the code of conduct is. It should have, the council should be accepting complaints. People that are doing things like hitting their twasses or sleeping with their twasses or whatever the abuse, there should be a place to go to actually report them. And the government has just been prolonging setting that up forever and ever. And the amount of corruption that's happening is insane. It's insane, and it's blatantly in your face. I saw this very, very clearly when Maweni was bursting into the scene, and how when you say something, to say that this is not, I mean, when someone is on national television and they are demonstrating dark, devilish sorcery, and they're saying, I'm watering at the mouth while I'm doing this because it's my favorite ritual to do. I just love it. And ngiyazithanda izinto ezimdaka. And into yami nje uyinto emdaka nje. This is my world. Esho ezojoja inaliti and killing on television. All of this was accepted. Not only and walking and kokomaing on people's graves. Walking all over the graves. The camera people are all there with the all of that. It just showed me that South Africa is completely dead to what is acceptable behavior in this world of traditional health and spirituality. They have no respect anymore. And most of them have no background of any kind of teaching. So you question whether or not they actually did go through any kind of initiation process, or if they just crossed the border to some of the nyangas that are known nyangas in Mozambique or in Malawi or wherever it is, and they learned a technique of how to put these things together, and they come back and say, and some of them definitely have not gone through any process, because umthetho weshoba, even though you might be a self-initiate or whatever, there are certain things that should be enforced, especially by government, that if you are going to have a health practice, and it's a spiritual health practice, this is what we expect from you. And we should, be going through some sort of a process to ensure that there's healthy conditions, there's, that the space you're in is inspected and that it's passed somehow. Lana, you're not even talking about abuse. You're talking about uzokuqa eduze kombhede phansi kombhede kugcwele ikiki. Lana eceleni kwakhona kufuneka uguqe futhi nakhona kunezigubhu zakhona ongazazi. Yonke leyo nto leyo nje indumba nje isekuyinoma ikuphi la ngithanda khona. And abantu, they are taken to those kinds of spaces and they cannot say anything. Because also there's not enough education for people that are going through an awakening. Ukuthi uma ngifuna-ke ukuthi ngiye kumuntu kufuneka ngenze njani, or uma sengimtholile lowo muntu, what must I ask them? What should I expect from them? And well, the thing that's broken down now is the family itself. The family is, for the most part, uneducated, because we are so kind of, I think Christianity over the last 300 years really did its job to suppress a lot about traditional spirituality. So even families themselves, who should probably be in a better position, they don't know what the process is. Or they don't believe in the traditional process and they're against it. So there is a breakdown anyway with that. But you should not really go and consult and have somebody tell you that you have a gift and not go to a second and third place and to get another opinion and confirm it. Once you've confirmed it, you also need to understand that the person that tells you that you have a gift doesn't necessarily have to be the person that's going to do that process for you. So you have to go and do due diligence to make sure that other people come with you to assess everything, to ask the right questions. And Gobela who will say to you, well, I can't tell you what the process is because that'll be giving away the secrets of my shrine or Imbande Ami or forget it, move on.
But man, would be a tricky food because imagine as sitting here as Pindi, I decide to go consult today and I don't know gitonti wenami gubone on social media, I go there, consult to you, and I take points here, good no, Lokjeli is not Chocobella, and then I go home. I start seeing myself in your house. I start seeing you giving me red skirts and all these things.
So in the first place, you must go consult with a person that has been referred to you by a trusted source. Don't go consulting just with anybody.
Inyanga is babas. Ukuthi mina ngiyalapha. Mina ngizokhipha into lapho.
Yes.
Yeah, you should run.
Yeah.
It's word of mouth. That's how things were done.
You must do your research and you must know the credibility of that person, even at consultation stage. Because even at consultation stage, people will consult. Some people are very gifted as seers. You know, they'll see visions and they'll hear the messages and tell you, and it's all accurate. But not everybody is gifted at being a practitioner. Okay. Some people are gifted psychics. Some people are gifted at seeing and telling, and they see everything. But in terms of being a practitioner, they don't have it because, because not everybody who is a Sangoma has gone through initiation. Some people who are Sangomas or who have the psychic gift, they just kind of naturally, it's a gift that they've had since childhood. They see visions. They're able to pick up information psychically. Yeah. They're able to tell you that, oh, your grandmother is here and this is what she's saying to you, etc. That's not a practitioner.
Is that why
so go to an actual Sangoma whom you can ask, where did you train? And they can tell you where they trained, even if they trained with yesthwalo like me.
At least we're pointing
at least there's somebody, that suggests that there's a process that someone has gone through. Because actually doing anything else is like, as in Pinetown one time, it was month end, and I was looking to go see a doctor. I went into this practice. It's in the middle of Pinetown, and it's a doctor's office, and it's full like this. Because it's month end, and and I'm telling you, when they said go into that room, there were 2-3 beds in that room, and take off your clothes, we're going to test you out and so on. Ungena usisi on a cleavage, efigi la. And she's wearing straps, just not a doctor, not a nurse, not an assistant to a nurse, not even a clerk. And later you discovered that this is what they do every single month. The office was once upon a time an Indian man's doctor's office, but his son is conning everyone into thinking that he's the doctor. These women are literally just taking 100 rand and it's bazohlola bazobona udokotela ukubona udokotela hamba laphana uthatha ikhadi lakho kanjani uyakhokha 100 rand bangena nje kanje. 100 rand lokhu bengenile isalukazi sizofuna ukuhlolwa phela ukuhlolani ngoba they just do this to take money every single month when they know that people are sick and they are not even giving them Panado. So if you just uyihloma nje kanjalo for spiritual stuff, I can understand for physical things. At least you know when the pain goes away, something was given to me that is medical. But spiritually, awukwazi ukumanage ngokuthi ngibona ngigqoka ibhayi bese uthi ngisangoma and I'll be able to do whatever you need done. It will be like that doctor's office. And that's how it is currently. That's the climate now, is that everybody tells you that they can help you. Everybody tells you that bayaz impande because they go around all the lives on TikTok. Umuntu abuza umbuzo manje ukuthi sikhushulwa kanjani isithunywa ezelawo manqampu and then move on to the next person, ask a different question. The next thing you know it, they say that they can do it. Some people are gifted from childhood, as I said, and some people have the gift ukuthi uzobe nje ungena nje esitolo and then umuntu ezobe ekufunda indaba zakho. That it does not mean that person, because they are telling you accurate things, that they are a practitioner.
So it answers me in the case of there are seers, but now, for example, you see ukuthi, hey, unesinyama, and then when they now have to start healing you, umuntu ohlaba inkukhu kusemanzini
usenza lento angazi ayizwa ngendaba or mhlawumbe yenziwa kuyena somewhere
uyaqagela nje ma this is an episode ngiyathwasa ngiyayeka ngibengisesigubhini or idlozi
usho ubuza mina
no as mina ngiyathwasa ngiyayeka I've seen a lot of people, it's happening a lot these days, there are people denouncing ubungoma and saying they're leaving the space, but is it no, you are not isangoma ububizwe isigubhu or you awunadlozi?
Well, lo othi njengamanje she's resigning from ubungoma, not being the first one. There is others burning.
There's a lot.
And there's others who have converted and become whatever it is. I'm going to address specifically Utumi or Lo Skoteni Dlamini, who's the most recent to say that she's resigning from ubungoma because she's what? There's no resignation to something that is in your bloodline. If this was hereditary, like if people say to you that diabetes is hereditary, your grandmother has it, your mother has it, and you're most likely going to die from it, you can't resign from that. That's in your blood, right? Ubungoma is the same. Ubungoma is not, it is an ancestor who would, or a line of ancestors who practice this, and the ancestor has called you to take their work on, right? If it is authentically a person in your bloodline that you were born with, literally when I see this remotely, when I see a person being born with the gifts, with the calling, if I will see actual individuals, actual people, and they will have a symbol of something that I will understand, that this was a Sangoma human being that came in spirit when this person was born. So you can't reverse that. I mean, if you're born a twin, for example, you can't reverse being born a twin. And twins are known to skip a generation and so on. So for sure, if you are a twin, it's going to skip a generation. The next generation, a twin will be born. Nobody can reverse that. It's not doable. So in the case of Uskoteni, I suspect that Uskoteni had a similar scenario where instead of having the proper Twasa situation, they did not activate the ancestor, him or herself, who was calling her to this work. They just put on a crown of yesthwalo that she's been using probably since she left the Gobela shrine, that has been working for her. But I think that nobody has been able to show her how to undress herself of yesthwalo. And so it has been, I think it has caused her to spin out of control. First of all, many things lead me to think that. And then the same with Umaweni, her friend. The same thing. They had yesthwalo situation happening, and they have not been able to find someone who will cleanse them of it and asethule properly kubona ayivale lento le. So yena ngesingaye ushuthi ubelale ngalele ebusuku ekhala kuze kube manzi umqamelo eyibuza ukuthi ngiphuma kanjani kulento engazi ukuthi uzophuma kanjani. But I think now she thinks that, declaring herself a Christian or yena uhamba noNkulunkulu manje or what, it's just a desperate cry to say, I feel, to say, this happened to me, but I don't know how to get rid of it. So you sort of declare, uphahluze ujuluka igazi, uphahlela ukuthi ngiyayeka ke manje lento yabona uyayidikila ngoba vele it's a very yahlukumeza indaba yesithwalo, iyahlukumezana le moya lena nalezi zizwe lezi zikwenza uhlanye nje. And uma engekho umuntu ozezethula lezi zinto kuwena, vele ungagcina umuntu ocabanga ukuthi ubungoma is the problem, kanti akusibona umngoma that's the problem. Ilezi zinto owathasisa zona, but wena zange recognize indaba yokuthi lesikhathi uthwasa uthwasiswanga idlozi lakho ngqo. Lento ofuna ukuyidikila manje ilento le elokhu ikuhlupha, but awayazi ukuthi uzoyethula uyithini. And then going public and saying, I'm resigning, what's the point? And then, I mean, we were not there when you were taking your vows. I am becoming a Sangoma. Why would you be telling us now, Uguti, I am no longer a Sangoma? It just says, it wreaks some sort of trouble that she's been struggling with for some time. Something that she's been wanting to get rid of, and she just is tired of trying. My cause.
To the many healers that are actually, family of this channel, there's somebody that is watching this and can probably relate from everything that you've said. If I'm watching here and I can see a good say, ngihambile ngayothwasa, but ngibuyile, my life is a mess. Because now remember, uthwasile isithwalo. Now uyothatha isithwalo ukuze uzoba right. So now, how does umuntu onjalo, how do you advise them ukuthi asukuma athola usizo, and how do they identify bona ukuthi no lana bese uma kuvuka, it was not even idlozi ngase ngi-act ukubhodla, because abantu sebayakwazi ukubhodla nomntana uyamthola adlala ku-TikTok my love. So what do we say to loyo muntu loyo today ukuthi asukume azihlambulula athola usizo?
Because mina nje ngizothi the biggest resource for this kind of information is my TikTok page at SANGOMA NENE. That is where I put a lot of the videos, not just about educating people about it, but actually giving you a remedy of how to get rid of it. I'll post actually specifically for the twasas who twased with this, how to use eggs and candles to ukvala. Ukvala is twala, and then how to potula these ghost entities and souls that were harvested from graves and things and put into this thing, how to end their service, because those things are service. They're serving their purpose. They've been bought to actually serve whatever they need to serve, which is return money home, basically.
And lento leyo Gogo, because ubuya na ekhaya uthole ngoba sobuyile uyothwasa senihlupheka ukunakuqala.
And wonke umuntu lapho kulelo khaya lelo is going to be affected, and all your relationships are going to be affected. Many of the sangomas who go through these initiations in that way, they cannot hold down relationships. They think it's because idlozi that they are being celibate for months and years and what have you, that their relationships don't last longer than a month or 3, and that they cannot have children, some of them. There's a whole, all kinds of side effects that come about because of yesthwalo. And yes, there's definitely a way to get rid of it once and for all and return these things back to sender, and also wrap it up in your own life so that there's not any ghosts or souls that are sleeping with you. They come with monitoring spirits, these yesthwalo. So the person at the back behind, at the shrine that has this gupu is, now and again monitors where you're at and is able to phone you when they see that there's something is going to, yes. And yes, they're able to phone you when the time is like, just when you're thinking of, I'm going to go and see Sangoma Nene and see if she can help me with this thing. The phone rings and you're told, ukuthi kunomcimbi othile sikhipha amathwasa athile and wonke umuntu kufuneka ayiswe emfuleni or wonke umuntu kufuneka agcatshwe this time, and now because you're being the good twasa that you are, and it's always you who's being called to come to these ceremonies and mcimbis, and umuntu uyovuselela ngani the thing that they've done. So yeah, I think become a good strong follower on Sangoma rituals.
Okay.
Because I'm putting out egg remedies that are just chopping. That is my focus, essentially, is to not just eat thwalo for intwaso, but sexual thwalos that are very, very money makers, big money makers these days, where boys and girls know that they can literally use this thwalo sotansi on you because you are beautiful, because you work, because they have that sexual interaction with you, bashare into zabo, baphuma nensila yakho, and the next thing you know, your destiny swapped.
Destiny swapping.
The next thing you know, your destiny is swapped completely. So abantu besifazane and men are doing that. Abantu besifazane will do that to a male that they see has whatever potential, and then abesilisa bazowenza entombini zabo uma bebona ukuthi you have a potential, or you are lucky, or you are working. And maseke sangena-ke leso sithwalo actor exactly like this sithwalo sentwaso, because the entities used in it are the same. It's gravesite magic for the most part. Ukuthola isipokwe sizomela wena kuloyo muntu, loyo muntu sezolala naleso sipokwe as if wena, and so on and so forth. So kubhlungu ukuphila njengamanje, and there was a flooding of these kinds of gravesite magic remedies and imiti from Mozambique. Zimbabwe has become very big exporters of that sort of thing, and Malawi and so on. So sekusetshenziswa ngemithi manje ayisekho into genuinely I'm with a man because there's love between us. Everybody wants to bring them back. Everybody wants to namatela mina. Everybody wants or bring back lost lava. They are the huge market thing right now. So emkhathini wethu nje njengamanje kuphila izilwane nezibhoko nabantu abavusa emathuneni ukuthi begijimise okuthile nokuthile, whether it's money or it's capturing people's homes. Uthola ukuthi usune umuntu osebenza ekhaya uyena sekumnikazi waleli khaya because they've done the thing to own the house. Nina senichithe kanti niphuma nibheka lena le umfazi wala ekhaya usexabene nomyeni wakhe hambile kanjalo nje sekune corruption kakhulu ngesimweni somoya. So you can't trust even your dreams, you can't trust even your intuition sometimes, because uzothi khuluma wena kanti khuluma utokoloshe owawubelethiswa ephehlweni or owawubelethiswa yile yanyanga owawuthi ngisiza ngifuna ungibuyisela umyeni wami kanti yena usebethela isigubhu sakhe kuwena ngaleso sikhathi. Abanye baze bakutshela ukuthi kufuneka ulale nami ukuze lento isebenze ngempela etc.
Bathi fuze Gogo yazini khulume yazi kuningi indlebe zami ziyaphuphuma and I wish to have you again. I know I'm going to watch this episode over and over again. But ngithanda ukubonga ma. You are well of wisdom. And iqiniso alisekho and to see iqiniso kuyajabulisa because often in times uneqiniso you'll be ridiculed, you'll be spoken ill of because people don't want the truth to be accessed. So I respect you more in your greatness and uqhubeke ma usilaphe usiphilise kungaqinilana. Well, viewers at home, that was it for a very, very, very amazing episode 4. This is a lot to digest, a lot to think about. I think after this, we just have to do a little bit of self-introspection. And maybe that relationship with your gorilla is not so good because there's a clash of energies. Kunemimoya engekho right efuze ilungiswe, and maybe awuvalwanga ugobela wakho uthwasise yesthwalo. You need to find help, find healing for yourself, and find closure for yourself. Ungakwateli idlozi because the gift is there, but isihambe sihlangabezana nabantu who are greedy. Be careful of people abazibabazayo. Be careful of people uthola umuntu namathwasa agcwele indlu. Where are all these thwasas going mabaqeda ukuthwasa? Are they there to serve an entity or are they there to contribute to the healing body? This was Gogo Unene. You can catch her on TikTok, YouTube, I believe every social media platform, and Studio Seeker Services. The details will be available on the screen. And thank you so much for viewing yet another wholesome episode of Thokoza Gogo episode. From me to you, it's nothing but love and light. And to many of us, Maspolini Sikule Gwande Thokozani. Kindly note that the Love, Life and Grief Seminar has been moved to the 3rd of May 2025. Tickets are still available at 950 per person. This is an intimate spiritual event centered around grief and healing, so come ready for an experience of a lifetime. Reserve your seats on 079-816-0199 and looking forward to seeing you soon.